Struggles are the new mechanic in this version of the game, and struggles are actually bloody wonderful. So how struggles work is people and provinces can be involved in struggles, and think of them not as a fight, but as prolonged periods of change and upheaval in a geographic area or a time or a place or all of that kind of stuff. And they go through phases, so they're almost programmed to go through phases depending on decisions and paths and actions people can take. So if you look here at kind of the struggle involvement, you will see that we are involved in the struggle. Now that means we are a character of import because of our family, our dynasty, or the titles we hold, that makes us implicitly tied to the events of this struggle. It's also possible for characters to be kind of peripherally involved just because they happen to be in a geographic area at the time, but certain characters are kind of key and crucial to these things. Phases have effects. So you can see that at the moment we're in the opportunity phase. We're in the beginning of this struggle for the Iberian Peninsula. And that means that fabricating claims in the struggle region costs prestige instead of gold. Wars cost less prestige to fight. We have a border raid casus belli. We have the contract assistance interaction. We have the bargain fealty interaction, and we can hire much cheaper mercenaries. As you can see already, hopefully, the flavour in this is really, really nice. We have culture effects related to this, so learning a new language provides prestige, granting a title to a local noble provides prestige, increasing the development of a county with different culture increases cultural acceptance. So all of these are really cool new mechanics for us to play with within this DLC. So even though it's just a flavour DLC, there's a lot going on with it. Faith effects. So again, you can see all these different effects it has. Now, note that for the purposes of our run here, and again, remember, I like playing these games and seeing how we do interesting, almost meta challenges that we set ourselves. And this run we're talking about here is conquering Spain or creating the Empire of Spain without fighting any offensive wars. Note that last effect under faith effects while we're in the opportunity phase. Interfaith marriages are available between involved characters. So you can really see how much depth this adds to CK3 that wasn't, to a certain extent, wasn't present in many ways at launch, but then they started adding with Northern Lords, and we've seen it with the Royal Court. So it's really coming together to me into being my already, let's be honest, it was already my favourite of the new Paradox titles. Vicky 3 is really going to have to struggle at the moment to dethrone CK3 from that rank. And then other effects. We've got the buy claim interaction against involved rulers, demand payment against involved rulers, which is quite interesting and fun. We can abduct against involved rulers. We can fabricate hooks, claim thrones, befriend, foment revolts, commission epic decisions, and all sorts of other things. So, super amounts of expansion to this mechanic. It really is quite crazy how much this adds. But what happens and how do things move beyond phase? So again, we'll start playing and just see how this naturally plays out in a minute, but I think it's important to kind of just talk you through some of the basics. From opportunity, we can go into one of two phases. We can end up in the hostility phase, which has a whole bunch of different effects, or maybe actually we can help steer this towards a conciliation. And the actions that loads and loads and loads of different people take determine how those paths go. Think of it as a bit like Crusades were, but a bit more kind of advanced and not as fighty. So it's really quite interesting in that way. Now, that means that when you're looking at a struggle, you might want to think about which path you want to do. And you might think based on interactions. And again, I'll let you discover all of this stuff yourself when you're playing the game. And then you also get break a truce with involved rulers. That's going to progress things towards hostility. Usurp a title does hostility. Clicking on conciliatory is going to show us the different things that do towards there. So we can help determine the path that this whole area goes down, but we don't have enough to just solo influence it ourselves. It is going to be determined by how people react around us. So for what is a flavour mod, because it does only cost like sort of €5 on sale, or £5 if you're in the UK, there's a hell of a lot in this. And hopefully, as you can kind of see already, the potential for this mechanic in other areas is huge.